Welcome, Patrick Collignon. You're a man with a wealth of experience in truck production. You were recently, until recently, vice president of Volvo Trucks America, and then you left the company and you founded two companies. One in America called Etrova Commercial Vehicles, and last year a European company called Etrova. What is Etrova about?
Well, both Etrova Commercial Vehicles and Etrova want to help provide a solution to the challenges around zero emissions, zero emission reduction. It are two independent companies, but they're striving for the same product plan, the same market entry, one covering North America and the other covering Europe.
Okay. I use the word repowering. This is a word you've taught me a few days ago. What's repowering about?
Well, repowering is one of the many solutions that the world will need in order to meet challenging standards. Targets by 2030 will not be reached solely by the use, by the sale of new zero-emission vehicles. We will have no other choice than to address also the existing fleet of vehicles that's out there, and the solution there is repowering, is to change the fossil fuel driveline, say the diesel driveline, into a zero-emission driveline.
So let's imagine I'm a transport company in Belgium with a nice fleet of trucks, and I've been convinced by your arguments. What should I do?
Well, I think there's two challenges in accelerating the market acceptance of zero-emission vehicles. First is availability, lead time, and obviously cost. I mean, a lot of people say you cannot accelerate the deployment of zero-emission vehicles because maybe the technology is not there, the cost will be too high, and so on. But we have to. There's no other choice. And therefore, we have developed a modular driveline system. Right now, it's battery electric, but we're also targeting fuel cell technology when the time is there. And the idea is that you bring your diesel truck, and we convert in a very short period of time the diesel truck into a zero-emission, in this case, a battery electric commercial vehicle.
When you mean a diesel truck, you mean a truck you've already been using for a few years?
Yes, I mean, we're targeting, the model is targeting trucks that can be 2 years old, up to 6, 7, 8 years old, depending on the condition of the vehicle. But the idea is that we use the base vehicle and we give another 10 to 15 years of potential lifespan to that vehicle, especially during times where there are a lot of supply chain issues, where there are long lead times. This is a solution where you bring the supply chain to Etrova, okay, and Etrova adds a zero-emission driveline to that. And our advanced industrial process that we have developed or are still in the midst of developing will allow us to do a transplant in 48 hours. So say 1 week.
Yeah, which is quite fast, of course.
It is. You bring your truck in on Monday morning, and the idea is that next week, Monday, you drive out with the same vehicle, remanned and with a brand new driveline. In the meantime, we would focus on the training of the driver, because driving a electric or zero-emission vehicle is still quite different than handling a conventional diesel vehicle.
How lower cost is your solution if I compare it to buying a brand new electric truck?
Well, not only the lead time reduction is key in order to help accelerate the market acceptance, obviously reducing the cost is another factor. And our objective is to reduce the cost with 1/3 compared to the cost of a new zero-emission vehicle. Are
you talking TCO here, or?
No, we're talking the acquisition cost of the vehicle.
Cost. Yeah. Okay, the capex. You've talked about the fact that I bring my truck to Etrova and I get it back the week after. But if I'm a Spanish customer and if you're based in Belgium, that might be a little more difficult. Are you looking forward to building a big factory or a decentralized production system?
Well, I think with all the challenges that we see right now in the bigger industry paradigm shift, that big factories is something of the past. I think the industrial footprints of the past will be smaller industrial footprints, geographically spread, meaning closer to the customer. So your customer, your example of the Spanish customer, bringing a truck to a central location is probably not the best model. And we are right now, or we will start the process of identifying strategic partners, a handful of strategic partners, geographically well positioned throughout Europe, in order to help us with the or execute the transplantation or the driveline conversion.
And what do you do with the old diesel engine, for example?
Well, there's a lot of things. I mean, it's one of the bigger discussions around asset recovery. If you, from a global perspective, if you want to do the right thing for the environment, you should do like California, drill a hole in it and completely destroy the engine. California is a state that has incentives to do that, financial incentives to truly take out of the market a fossil burning engine. I think it's an extreme step. I think there's a lot of potential in what we call asset recovery, in, of course, remanning engines, because we are very pragmatic. We understand that diesel engines will still be there for a while, and that's one of the opportunities. At the same time, of course, with scarcity of materials, the whole recycling of componentry can as well be considered.
If we're having a look into the future, of course, zero-emission driving is probably the key trend at the moment. Autonomous driving is also looming. Are you also looking forward to that?
Correct. In our program, we refer to it as our D to E to A, meaning diesel to electric to autonomous. I mean, we understand that the world is facing multiple challenges. I mean, the CO2 reduction is a major challenge, but at the same time, I mean, you get easily reminded, especially driving from Antwerp to Brussels, that Belgium still has a mobility issue. So mobility, traffic safety, the shortage of drivers, which you addressed this morning, is a key challenge to solve. So we are preparing our transplant platform to be also autonomous. And that's why we call this program D to E to A, diesel to electric, with the means to become an autonomous vehicle.
That's fascinating indeed. What kind of fleets do you target first? Because you can't electrify the whole world at once.
Right, Claude. I mean, we are looking right now also there for strategic partners, companies that have you can almost say maybe a public responsibility, or have very strong social corporate responsibility values, and companies that want to see part of their fleet converted faster. I know that there will be a whole lot of customers out there that will only buy new vehicles, and we fully respect that. We applaud the development work of the existing OEMs to bring these type of vehicles in the market. At the same time, we know that if fleets want to accelerate, they will have to embrace in one way or another a repowering. And our repowering model is very modular, is an innovative way to achieve that.
I could easily think of fleets doing inner city distribution, especially if the city bans or is going to ban diesel vehicles from the city centers. This is the typical field of application.
Absolutely. Inner city distribution, regional haul are your typical medium duty, heavy duty type vehicle applications that we are targeting. Our platform is designed for heavy duty, but it's of course a whole lot easier what we call downscale it than to upscale. My comparison is always if you can build an electric golf cart, you cannot build by default a class 8, but if you can build a heavy duty 16 ton, you can actually easily build a golf cart.
What's your ideal timeline in the coming months or years?
Right now, we announced here today the incubation and the founding of Etrova. It's a team of industry veterans that have created Etrova. They are working right now together with Flanders Make in Lommel in Limburg to take the architecture that we have developed in the United States and integrate that into a European truck platform. We want to be brand independent, so that will take some time to develop that. We just started the work with Flanders Make. So a lot will depend on the availability of the first prototype. But our objective is that at least in 2023 we will have identified a key or more than one key strategic company partner with whom we can fully test and validate the product solution in their fleets.
I'd be glad to see one of your repowered trucks driving in Belgium someday.
Well, you can always join us in the United States to get some kind of a preview.
Why not?
Why not, yes.
What about after sales?
Well, there are different models. I mean, first of all, part of that bigger paradigm shift, I think everybody that has seen a more advanced electric vehicle platform realizes that there will be a massive shift for dealers in terms of service. If you think about our solution, it doesn't have a gearbox, it's a direct driveline solution. What is there to maintain? And so it will be one of the big challenges for dealers today that are heavily depending, their revenue stream heavily depending on the service of commercial vehicles. Obviously that model will be seriously disrupted. Then of course, it's still a truck. I mean, you still have a windshield that can crack. You still have wheel ends that need to be replaced. And those service items, we would really like to see that embedded with existing dealer bodies across Europe.
Maybe a last question, and we'll not get too deep into homologations and registration of new vehicles, but do you have to work together with the OEMs in terms of, for example, safety?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we don't see ourselves as a competing business model with OEMs. We applaud their work, their development work for zero-emission vehicles. What we offer is an additional solution in the marketplace, and we obviously strive to work with OEMs as close as possible to make this a reality.
Because you obviously need to exchange data with the OEMs if you want to have the truck functioning correctly. Data ownership, for example, is also crucial. Driving dynamics have also to be maintained or even improved because the truck was not built in first instance as an electric truck and becomes an electric truck. It might make a difference on driving dynamics, for example.
Correct. Now, part of our industrialization plan is a full vehicle validation. Obviously, ECE norms in Europe different than FMVSS norms in the US. But we obviously strive for a similar type of validation, brake validation, vehicle stability, for sure. At the same time, of course, we know that the collaboration with the OEM is of key importance here. I mean, you can say 75% of the vehicle has already passed homologation. I mean, a seat pull test is not necessarily necessary. A front windshield defrosting is not necessarily. Then obviously we have to find smart solutions how we can leverage the work that has already been done.
Well, you look highly, and your whole team looks highly motivated to make that happen as soon as possible in Europe in general and in Belgium in particular. I'm really looking forward to see something happen live, and I think you're kickstarting something very interesting for the whole industry, and this is something we'll talk about in the future with Transmit Media and along our different platforms. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've appreciated the interview. This is just the start of the story. I think we will meet with the Etrova team again, and we'll also write nice articles about what you're planning to do to help you transport companies decarbonize as fast as possible in the coming years. Patrick, thank you very much for coming from the Americas to meet us today.
Claude, thank you so much. There's no better occasion here, passion for trucks, to make this great announcement. Thank you so much, Claude.